This was my visit card in Auschwitz. I was not a person, I was a number.
But you are a person.
Yes.
And they were not.
Yes.
They were not person.
But I survived, and they are gone.
Yeah. I'm with two friends here, Laura and Helena Rusk. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we are a special day today because it's Yom HaShoah in Israel. And you're a Shoah survivor,
Yes.
Laura. I know you very well, so you told me about your amazing life story, how you survived and so on, but we want to hear it again.
Exactly.
So you're originally from Poland, I think. When exactly were you born?
Yes.
When?
So,
Mom was born in 1922 in Sosnowiec, Poland, which is a small town next to Katowice, which is a much larger city. And when she was 17 years old, the war erupted in 1939, and her whole life has been completely changed. Not her life, all of the Jewish people's lives have been completely, the quality of life has changed.
So do you remember the life in Poland?
yes.
It was a good life before the war?
Not exactly. The anti-Semite was already spread in Poland in big way. Yes.
I hear that you speak Polish together, right?
Yes, yes.
How comes? Why?
We speak a lot. We speak many languages, but when we want to really speak,
Yes, I survived Auschwitz, Birkenau with God's wonders. I went through such a horrible experience, it's unbelievable. I was supposed to be executed publicly because I escaped from concentration camp, and the only punishment was to be hanged. And when I stood before execution, the commandant asked me, with a actually hypocritical question, "How do you like Auschwitz?" And I said, my answer means death or life. And I smiled to him and said quietly, "Thank you, I have no complaint." He was surprised, started laughing and said, "What? You don't hate us? You just said you have no complaints. We have the same opinion." Because I said Auschwitz is not such a bad place. And with these words, he finished, and I was free from execution. This was the first wonder. The second was one, when I arrived in Auschwitz, Birkenau, I had to go to the gas chambers, and what happened? 2 SS officers came, called me, and asked me to go out with them. My life was saved. The third wonder was when I was in a barrack for very holy people with typhus, etc.
and you
Everyone was selected who was sick over there to gas.
But what happened to your
Not
family?
me.
You experienced many
with
miracles.
God's wonders, I survived Auschwitz.
Tell me, Laura, what happened to your family, your parents?
Everyone was guests in Auschwitz, and I saw them when they were transported to Auschwitz.
when we were walking, they were marching
Yes.
towards the trains, and
And
Mom was
my
standing. Yeah.
work after war was to give testimonies about all my experiences and I have done during the persecution time by the Nazis. And this, I understood, was my duty, for the obligation to those who went al Kiddush Hashem in the last moment, being in the gas chambers, scratching with their fingernails. Don't forget us. So I fulfilled their message. This was my obligation. That's all.
And Mom has lost all her family, about over 40 members, and she was running around trying to see how not to be deported when they were deporting people from the town, and she found some kind of a cloth with a red cross on it. So momentarily she wasn't deported, and she was standing among the crowd. She lost her family, she had no idea where they were, and suddenly marching among thousands of people, hundreds of people who were just marching towards the open trains, she noticed and she saw her parents, her sisters, her grandparents, her aunts, her uncles, the whole family just went by, and she knew that she would never ever see them again.
May I tell you what I have witnesses with my eyes?
Yes.
It was during the Hungarian deportation. I looked through a little hole how the selection took place. So when they arrived, Sonderkommando, Jewish people who were specially trained by people who arrived to select them, men and women specially. I saw personally the selection. 2-3 officers with one finger, right or left, selected. And they were tragic moments when a mother had a child and she didn't want to separate, and the Sonderkommando asked a woman with a child, throw it away, if not you will not be alive. But she said, what? I will never throw away my life. So I saw the one who went only with a finger, left and right, the young people to the right. So this was the biggest hypocrisy, that during this selection an orchestra from Jewish people played all the Strauss, waltz and nice opera music. People didn't know even that they were going to the gas chambers. So I was witnessing all the tragedy, like decided by officer, life or death, just making by one finger.
So you experienced the worst
It's unbelievable.
The worst tragedy.
And I am thanking God that I survived and they are gone. And I could warn people for all this, what has happened, it should never happen again, to fulfill the message of people who went tragically to death. And the one reason was that they were Jewish people.
You live in Israel now, Laura.
Yes.
Is it important for you
So I fulfill the message of those who went al Kiddush Hashem. And thanks God, I am in good health.
97, I can't believe it. 97 years old.
Yes.
What is your secret of life?
Wonderful.
Wow.
How much I can do, I will follow my obligation.
Good. And now you have also a grandson, David, and I know.
And we all made Aliyah.
Yeah.
It started with
I
me.
have a wonderful daughter who takes care for me.
Yes.
It was a gift from heaven.
Yeah. And we all made Aliyah, and I brought Mom here, And by coming here, my son followed, so now our whole family is complete here. And we love being here. We have traveled all over the world, and we have finally settled in Israel, and we feel this is the right place to be.
So
when I was in Germany, I stayed some years over there.
Yeah.
I was asked, do you still hate Germans? And I said, I don't feel hatred. I don't want to judge them. They all will respond to the Almighty what they have done.
Yeah. And so today it's Yom HaShoah. So each year, do you feel pain at this day, this special day? Do you remember the past, or
of course,
or maybe the opposite? You want to talk more about this, and you feel that we don't enough explain to the new generation. What is your position? What do you think? We need to teach more the history.
My duty is to warn the young generation.
Yes.
Yes, they should know, and no, they are not responsible for this what happened. To learn what is when they hate. They all have to live in peace and love. This is why we are on this planet Earth, and believe in one God.
Mom has been very busy testifying throughout Europe. She came out with some DVDs in Germany. She spoke to the German army. She spoke to the clergy. She also was in Bern. She made quite a few testimonies in Bern, in France for the American community. It's another DVD. Yeah. She has a book now in Poland, which also describes her.
Laura, this is your number that you have in Auschwitz?
That's Mom's number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you mind to show it to the camera? Yes. I'm sorry to. Yeah. That's.
Yeah.
This was my visit card in Auschwitz. I was not a person. I was a number.
But you are a person.
Yes.
And they were not.
Yes.
They were not. Person,
but I survived, and they are gone.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your testimony, Laura. You know, it's important. I will show it on internet, and many young people will maybe hear about you.
I have a message to all people in Israel. They should never forget that God was chosen them to be a light and to be for the whole world known why they were chosen.
Okay.
This is my message for Israel.
Thank you very much, Laura.